No, for me, I think the future very much looks like continuing to help women believe in themselves.
Yeah.
I believe that the starting point to that is connecting with your body.
Yeah.
It's slowing down enough to look after yourself again with your nutrition, with your stress, with your exercise. I think that's always the place to go. But I think whether it's with my Nourish Her health and fitness coaching or whether it's with my Lead Her business mentorship, I just want to help women slow down, reconnect with themselves, stop chasing unrealistic expectations and unnecessary stresses, and just build a life that gives them freedom.
Welcome to Strong Mind, Strong Body, the podcast from your favourite fitness studio, RG Fitness and Pilates in Trim, County Meath. We believe that building a strong and confident mind and body takes precedence over everything. So, welcome to this episode of Strong Mind, Strong Body. I'm your host, Roisin Green, and today I have a really special guest here. I'm delighted to welcome Kate Hamilton to the podcast. Kate, you're so welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, Kate, please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and how you made your way into the fitness industry and well-being industry, if you like.
Okay, so my name is Kate Hamilton. My business and online persona, if you like, well, it's not really a persona, just me, is Kate Hamilton Health, and I am 40. I am a mum of 3, and I am a health and fitness and nutrition coach, and I help women reconnect with themselves and work towards goals that they had kind of lost belief that they could achieve.
Yeah.
And most recently then we've kind of veered into a little bit of business mentorship as well. So I also help women who want to build a business that gives them the freedom that they want, but also to build a profitable business as well.
Yeah.
So I think my general thing that I do really is just help women believe in themselves and chase after their goals in a way that doesn't burn them out, in a way that doesn't sell their soul, whether it's health, whether it's fitness, whether it's business. And I love it. I love every minute of it.
Wow, amazing. And you weren't always into the health and fitness, were you?
No.
Talk to us a little bit about where you were before you got into this kind of whole area of your life, and how did that transition come about?
Yeah, so I wouldn't have been a sporty kid. So when I was little, my mum had me in ballet and modern dance. So I think she wanted me to be, a perfect
Billy
little,
Barry kid.
Yeah, or a little perfect ballerina,
Yeah.
So I was quite like a timid, anxious young child, and in school I didn't really like team sports. I didn't like the pressure of having to hold up my end of the bargain for others, and I didn't like the criticism and in sport when you're shouting at your team members, and I just, as a kid, I just couldn't handle that, so I didn't like sport at all. So I as I said, I did ballet, I played the piano, and I wouldn't have really believed in myself. I was always a kid that tried to please others, and then obviously I grew into a teenager, and my teenage years were spent, just kind of, when you start building that ego and you start finding your way in the world, and there was no sport involved. I did stay in dance until I was 18, but apart from that, at the weekends, it was drinking, it was smoking, it was, doing all normal teenage things, exactly. And then in my 20s, I had my first kid at 23. And so my 20s, I had my first kid at 23, my next kid at 26, and then my last kid at 31. So my 20s were really taken by raising kids, and we bought a house in that time, and we bought a house just before the recession. Then suddenly our money was down, and it's just a bit of a blur of 10 years, really. My 20s are a little bit of a blur of just, raising small kids and, being a little bit broke from buying a house and just kind of getting on with things.
Trying to hold it all together for 10 years.
Yeah, trying to hold it all together for 10 years. And I worked as a teacher. I forgot to mention that. That's
what I was kind of leading to.
Yeah. I was a primary school teacher for 15 years as well. So I went straight from school to college into my first job, and I stayed there for 15 years. And I loved it. I loved working with the kids. But it definitely was it was a family friendly job. I didn't have a passion for it, but I didn't have the time to think about having a passion for it, if that makes sense. Yeah. When it comes to me getting into health and fitness, that really happened. I started getting into fitness kind of late 2015. So that was, the early days of Instagram.
Yeah.
And I remember I followed this Australian girl called Kayla Itsness. A lot of people listening might have heard of her, might not have, but now she's got this huge global empire fitness business now. And she's the founder of the Sweat app. But at the time, she was just a girl on Instagram, and she looked amazing. And initially, I was like, oh, I'm going to start do her workouts because I want to look like her.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Really?
Initially, it was 2015, so I was what age was I? I was 29 or something, and really kind of lost myself and my body to having kids. And
you kind of forget about yourself, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Like,
and I
felt really frumpy, and I felt like I looked older than what I was.
Yeah.
And it was just busy working and raising kids, and then drinking at the weekends as well. I used to look forward to the wine on a Friday, wine on a Saturday, and that was, so it was just this constant cycle of just surviving. So I started doing her home workouts at the time, which were like PDFs, and
PDFs?
I know, little PDF workouts, and I
so
used to do them on my kitchen floor with my kids.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I started to build this identity as someone who started to take care of herself. I started to find out more about what I should eat that would make me a little bit healthier, give me more energy, and and obviously lose weight and get fit and strong. At this stage, I still hadn't really stepped inside a gym. I was just, using dumbbells at home.
Yeah.
And like that's where it did begin for me. And it wasn't until that was kind of how I worked out up until I had my third child. So I got pregnant with him in January 2017. He was born in September 2017. And I was like, this will be my fifth pregnancy. And it was not my fit pregnancy because it was a really difficult pregnancy. Nothing actually medically wrong.
We were already talking about this earlier on, weren't we? Like the older you get,
I know. Yeah, this third kid nearly killed me now. To be fair, so I was just so tired. I was so cranky. I was, but it was kind of that kind of hormonal rage.
Yeah.
I know a lot of women listening will know that.
Definitely.
But I had, it reminded me of what I was like when I was like 12 or 13. I was like that when I was pregnant with my third kid, and I actually gained a lot of weight during that pregnancy. I wasn't active. I was really cranky. He was born in September, and I always see that point, that kind of October 2017, as my fitness starting point.
Yeah.
Because I ended up injured after I had him. I was on crutches. I had like a pelvic injury, and I had to do a bit of physio.
Yeah.
And so I really was starting from scratch, and I was grieving that little identity that I had started to build before the pregnancy. And I got back to my home workouts at that stage, and that's kind of where I stayed doing those workouts and losing a bit of weight, and up until would have been 2019 when I stepped into a CrossFit gym. Wow. And that kind of happened by accident.
Was it hard to step into it?
Well, I didn't know what I was stepping into at the time, Roisin. So what happened was I was obviously a teacher, and I was interested in health and fitness. I was consuming a lot of health and fitness content, and I was like, I really want to build this identity. I want to make new friends. I remember actually making goals like this. I want to make some new friends that are into fitness as well, and then what happened was one day the principal came into the staff room and he goes, There's this CrossFit guy he's in the office, and he wants to know, is there any teachers interested in doing this CrossFit program where like you'd incorporate the CrossFit Kids program into the PE curriculum? And I was like, yes, please. So me and a few other teachers went and had a chat with him, and basically he wanted to train for free, like it was being funded by CrossFit HQ.
Yeah.
So he wanted so we got to do the CrossFit Kids trainer program for free. We got to train in his gym to learn more about the CrossFit philosophy.
Okay, so
for free
it wasn't like you
for,
just walked into a gym.
So all of a sudden I was immersed in this CrossFit community, and his gym was new as well at the time. And I remember I just completely got immersed in it. I loved learning about training, learning about coaching, and I loved going to the classes. It was the first time I ever lifted a barbell.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. And I was surrounded by these really strong women being like, holy shit, look at her lifting that. Look at her hanging from that bar.
You probably would have never even thought of that.
Yeah. And as I start, and I really challenged myself in those classes, doing box jumps, learning how to do pull-ups, all of that stuff. And it was the first time that in my life I think I really addressed that inner child of mine that was afraid of team sports, that really didn't think, like I genuinely thought that other people were stronger, I was weaker, other people were better than me, I wasn't good enough.
That's so common.
Up until my, like I'm talking into my 30s here.
And
then all of a sudden I started doing hard things in the gym. And when I started doing hard things in the gym, it was like, holy shit, I can't describe, you know the feeling. Like, I can't describe that feeling of achievement, of motivation, of pride.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, holy shit, I just did that. What else can I do? So then what happened was this unlimited...
This mindset started to change.
This unlimited belief in myself started to happen, where I was like, holy shit. So that's when and so all of that happened, but then COVID happened. Right?
Oh, no way.
So now the gym was really sound and gave us loads of equipment and stuff. But when we were at home and I'd had this experience, like just this expansion of myself, right? And I'd made some amazing friends in this. And it was just this whole side of myself. I was like, wow, that I was just beginning to explore. But with lockdown, particularly in the first lockdown, March 2020, it was like 2 weeks to the Easter holidays, right?
That's
so
right,
I remember as a teacher, everyone was a bit like, oh, this isn't going to last long. Oh, it'll only be a week or whatever,
That's right,
and then we were like, oh, it's hanging on a bit longer. We're like, oh, it'll be over by the Easter holidays. So we kind of got to skating our arses a little bit for those 2 weeks up to the Easter holidays. And I wasn't doing a whole lot of work, and I was just working out. My dad actually ended up in hospital quite early on with COVID. He was there for 5 weeks, but it was a real helpless situation where I couldn't do anything, because you couldn't visit. So there was nothing I could do. I couldn't go to my mum and my sister. We were locked down, and they had been living with him, so I had to stay away from them. Anyway, so all I could do was I got out for my walk every morning with the kids, and I trained like I was an athlete. Like I just got into this identity. I was like, and I built a lot of my strength during lockdown. And the gyms were, as you know, were closed for quite a long time. So we spent a lot of time working out at home. They opened for little parts and then closed again. And I really built a lot of physical strength there, and I really built on that identity. But it was the first time that my life had stopped. My first time that my not even adult life, my teen and adult life had ever stopped. And it was in that silence, and I really believe it started with the body, with the workouts, connecting with my body, those morning walks. But it was like this silence and this space. There was nowhere to be. There was nothing to do. And I know a lot of people can
relate to that. Yeah,
relate to this. But what happened was, for the first time, I was like, maybe teaching isn't what I want to do anymore. And it was the first time I thought
that was scary. I'd say to even say the words out loud. Because it's like you said, it's a job, it's safe, you have your 9 to 5, your 9 to 2, your 9 to 3, whatever. It's really good, but that thought of creeping in, it was kind of gradual as well. Like it was kind of like what I did was while I was stuck in that lockdown, I enrolled in a nutrition course. So I did precision nutrition, which is a fantastic course, because not only does it teach you the science of nutrition, but it also teaches you how to be a coach. And that was the first time doing that online course that I was like, oh my God, I can create an online business. And keep in mind, this is still 2020. So there weren't, like, the online fitness industry that's there now wasn't there then. No way.
So I didn't even know what I was building, So I did that course, and I used to stay up late at night doing it. And I was saying to myself,
you had a passion for it.
And I was like, well, I'm not staying up late preparing teaching resources, but I'm staying up late, and I had a passion for it. And then it was like, and really how to help people, and how deep health was really important, and that it wasn't just about calories, macros, and lifting weights, that it's so much more than that. And I loved that. So then I enrolled in personal training course. I did the CrossFit trainer course for adults as well at the time, because at that time I was still training in a CrossFit gym when it was open. And I just started building a little bit of an online business, because I loved helping women in a group capacity on habits, on mindset, the group calls, the WhatsApp groups. I loved that, and building resources to help them learn about building a healthier lifestyle and a healthier mindset. So I kind of had that on the side, and I started working in the gym. And that's kind of like, it's just like it's just that passion for fitness and health. It consumed me.
Yeah, but the actual transition was very gradual, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because during COVID, the work stopped. So then you had this passion starting to build for all your fitness. Yeah. The what did you call it there? Not the high rocks. What was it?
CrossFit.
The CrossFit. Yeah. That all started to build. So one was kind of taking over your life while the other one was kind of filtering away from your life because of COVID.
Yeah, without even and now saying that, like that was kind of, you know, March to September.
Yeah.
And then September 2020, we were back to school.
Yeah.
So then that was a bit of a reality shock. But I decided by that September, and this is the great thing about being a teacher, that I could job share. So I couldn't job share that year because you have to give notice. But I was like, that September 2020 to June 2021 is the last time I taught full time.
Wow.
But I had decided in that September I was job sharing the following year so that I could build my business. But it was never even it was just to give things a go. It was never like I'm going to leave teaching forever, like, you know. And there was another teacher in the school and she wanted to job share as well. So we went to the principal. We were, I think, in like October, being like, we want to job share next year. And he was like, oh God, you guys are eager. But it was great. So that was set. So that got me through that year. And it was a really tough year because I was building on the side, so it was like having two jobs. It was having two jobs. Coming to the end of that year, I'd gotten a job in a gym to learn more about training people in person and how people move. And you know, I think there's a lot of online coaches out there now who are designing programs for people and they've never worked with people in person. And just because that 25-year-old fitness coach is able to squat and hinge and lunge, they've no idea what a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old woman or man. Like totally the limitations that they have in relation to squatting and hinge, and how
I hear that all the time.
And how most people can't hinge, let's say, without being shown properly.
Exactly.
So super important to do that. So that was really, really full on time, but it didn't, like, people are like, Kate, how did you do that? I didn't find it physically exhausting because, like yourself, like, it just lit me up. Like, it lit me up.
You wanted it so bad.
The only thing I had a little bit of was mum guilt because I was more absent than I had ever been before. But now when I look back, I'm like, no, they saw what I built.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Kids do what you do, not what you say.
You're setting an example, like, it's amazing. So as a busy mum of 3, you know, you're at home with the kids the whole time, and then you started to think about your own needs. So how did you make that transition into start prioritising your own needs without feeling too guilty for leaving? Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, like going to the gym and things like that. So in the early days, it was at home. It was at home. So I was like, and I think that's really important to know as well. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be going to the gym 5 days a week. I did 3 home workouts a week on my kitchen floor, and I have pictures of me when my older 2 now are 16 and 13. They were small, and the younger fellow wasn't even born yet. And there's pictures of, like, you know, my pink mat on the kitchen floor, and that's how I did it. And then I got out for walks, but it was with them. I just brought them up the mountains. Poor kids were dragged all over the Wicklow Mountains when they were growing up. Like, now they won't come anywhere with me anymore.
But you have all those lovely
but it's
memories.
fine. But now I can actually have a bit of peace when I go on a walk now. But at the time, it was just, this was a whole family change. This was like, Mum is not sitting around drinking wine on Friday and Saturday night. So I didn't have guilt. I was looking after myself. If anything, I had guilt that I was hungover on a Saturday and a Sunday. You know what I mean? And I made that change while they were still young enough that they don't remember me the way I was.
That's great, isn't it?
You know what I mean? And they only remember, like, they think it's like fitness is normal. You know,
it's just part of your
health
life.
is normal. You know, lying around all day isn't.
That's what you want your kids to see. You want your kids to grow up with that mindset of working hard for something.
And that eating a healthy dinner is normal. And like, I never demonized foods because, well, I love a bit of chocolate myself, so I do live a very much healthy balance. But, like, you know, I wasn't like, oh, my children aren't allowed to have sugar, my children aren't allowed to do this, that and the other. It was very much like, you eat your breakfast, your lunch and your dinner, and after that, whatever.
Exactly.
You know, but that, you know, and I think, so it was never a sacrifice. And then when I got to the stage that I was going to the CrossFit gym, I didn't feel guilty. I squeezed it in the evening time. My husband got home from work. We were only gone an hour, but then I started making friends, and I was gone like an hour and a half. And I'd be like, because we were hanging around chatting afterwards. But I needed it, and it was just like, it lit me up. But then my husband joined the CrossFit gym not soon after me.
That's amazing.
So, and then like the kids started getting into, like, they started to, like, I was teaching the kids classes in the gym, so my kids were coming to the gym classes and stuff as well. So it actually became a whole family thing, really.
Brilliant.
And I think anyone who really struggles to you know, with the guilt of leaving kids, or, you know, it's so important, because once they see you do it, they want to be part of it.
Of course.
So
important, isn't it?
So
moving on then, you have a very successful program online called Nourish Her. It focuses on the whole no quick fixes, or no, I'm starting again on Monday. So tell us a little bit more about that then.
I think as women, particularly the older we are, so like in general, when I'm speaking in my content or, you know, on my podcast or anything like that, I really am talking to women 40 plus. And, you know, plenty, I'm talking to all women, but I think the older we get, the harder this gets, that we've done so many diets. We've cut out so many different food groups. We've done so many extreme different things to try.
It's creating a bad relationship between us and food, and it shouldn't be that way.
Us and food, us and exercise, and our relationship with our bodies. And I see it with like the thousands of women that we've coached over the years in Nourish Her, and even just with myself and with women in my life that I know, it's like every failed attempt at a diet is another blow to your confidence.
Absolutely, 100%.
And your self-belief. And I'm fucking sick of it, if I'm quite honest.
But even saying that word, every failed, even the word fail, do you know what I mean? Even that in itself is like a punch in the stomach, isn't it?
And it's the attached judgment and shame that we put to it. But whereas what if you kind of reframed it that every failed attempt is actually you just getting to know yourself a little bit better, and that as long as you're not staying still, you're moving in the right direction. And that's the approach with Nourish Her. It's very much step by step. It's the foundations. And like I'll say to people when they're signing up, like, don't sign up if you're looking for a quick fix. You're going to have to dig deep here. We do a lot of we have a weekly call, and it is mindset based. We do journaling every single week. You have to dig deep on your limiting beliefs. If you're not willing to do that, you're never going to be able to make long-lasting change. So I'm it's one thing I'm really strict on. I'm like, you have to be willing to create the space. It doesn't have to be massively over the top. So like, I don't give people meal plans. It's like, you come, I'll show you how to eat with healthy balance. You know, if your goal is to lose weight, we'll give you calories and macros. We'll give you food guidance on how to increase your protein, increase your fibre, your healthy fats. We don't cut out food groups. And then it's about community. It's about community and support, and just learning to believe that you can do it again, because you can, and I've seen it. We've had one client recently who has reversed type 2 diabetes by the changes that she's made with our coaching, you know, and there's been nothing extreme. It's healthy, balanced eating. It's eating more whole foods, eating more protein, eating more fibre, eating more healthy fats, but also having a little bit of chocolate if you like chocolate. Having a little bit of like a bag of popcorn, a bag of crisps if that's what you enjoy. You don't have to cut anything out.
I was just going to say, it's not about taking away, it's just adding in better foods.
That's exactly what it is. It's about adding more to your life, and you have to come into it with that aspect. You're not giving up anything. You're not taking away anything. You're adding more healthy foods. You're adding more water. You're adding more exercise, but you're adding more energy and adding more confidence. And it's what I'm trying to bring through Nourish Her is that belief in yourself, that infinite confidence of, holy shit, what else can I do? And I've seen it with so many women who've gone for promotions in work that they would never have gone for before this journey with Nourish Her. That so it's really just letting a client, when they do decide to finish up with us, that they're stepping away with confidence, that they can do it themselves, and if they want to come back, they're always welcome back in our community, but that you don't need us forever. And to teach as well that there is no goal, there's no weight loss goal, there's no health goal, a goal isn't static.
I get you.
So like even myself, like when it comes to my own health and fitness or my own weight or my own habits, they go up and down depending on what's going on in life. And the older we get, the more responsibilities we have and the more complicated and stressful life is. So why are we adding more stress? Our exercise should bring us some joy and some relief.
It's changing the whole mindset from having that bad relationship with food to having a positive relationship with food and exercise as well.
And you don't need to change everything you eat.
No.
Like you keep, like when clients start, I'm like, eat the way you eat and let's just tweak it. Let's add a little bit more protein in there. Put a bit of vegetable on the side. You know what I mean? And let's just start tracking it. Let's see how much you're currently consuming. And people can't get over when they start eating 3 structured meals a day. And drinking water and like eating good proper food in those 3 meals, how much the cravings go away, and the emotional eating is a whole different topic. But a lot of what people think is emotional eating is actually just physical cravings, because your blood sugars are constantly up and down.
Science.
And it's so simple.
Yeah.
But it needs to be done gradually. And what happens is most people try and change everything at once. They feel massively overwhelmed, and they end up back at square one in the comfort zone. And that's what that cycle is.
Yeah.
So it's just been like, and I know the feeling when some clients start and they're really unhappy in their bodies and with their health, and they're in a panicked rush to look and feel different.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to slow down.
Yeah.
And you to realise that you don't have to wait until you reach your goal weight or your goal fitness goal or whatever it is. You don't have to wait to feel amazing. You can choose to feel
I was just going to say, you probably find when they first come to you, let's say your first consultation, they're probably like, oh my God, like very down. You know, a lot
of women would use language like, I'm disgusted with what I see in the mirror.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Like that woman that you feel disgusted with in the mirror, how many people is she looking after? What kind of income is she bringing into the family? What kind of care and love is she giving to the family? You know, what about all the other life achievements that you've had so far? And why do you feel disgust when you look at yourself? Okay, maybe you have come to the bottom of the priority list a little bit, but that's no reason to hate yourself or be disgusted with yourself. And to see those strong negative emotions in women breaks my heart, but it also is it's the most fulfilling thing when you see them become free of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, do you find, let's say you'd have somebody and their goal, you say, what's your goal? Oh, I want to lose 4 stone. Okay, I want to lose 4 stone. And then maybe 2 or 3 months in, they're starting to feel so good about themselves, and they're looking in the mirror going that they don't even care about the weight anymore.
Yeah.
It's changing.
It becomes so much. Well, it was the same when I started my journey. I just wanted to look like Kayla Itzeness at the time.
That's what I was going
now
to say,
I still fucking don't. Like, but
you feel it in here. You feel amazing.
I don't want to look like her anymore, because it becomes so much more.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean, like, you know, you can like with Nourish or coaching, you can get into whatever kind of body composition shape that you want.
Yeah.
But everything comes at a cost. And a lot of that kind of perfect body image that we see on Instagram now is not healthy.
No,
it's not healthy. And those people aren't happy.
No.
And what you learn is that strength, health, you know, freedom, and like freedom from an unhealthy body, freedom from the food noise, freedom from the lack of confidence and the self-loathing and all of that, but also the freedom from the restriction as well. Yeah. Because also restriction isn't healthy either. And
it's not.
And then so it becomes so much more than what you look like.
Restriction is like punishing. But the words restriction and punishment, they're all negative words again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's where we should be changing the whole mindset.
So many women veer from one unhealthy side to the other because they're terrified of going back.
Yeah.
But like, it's the freedom when you finally can just let go and trust yourself and realize that there's so much more to you than what you look like, and there's so much more. And that doesn't mean you won't look amazing, because the thing is, when you feel amazing inside and you're eating healthy food and you're exercising to release any of that stress and energy, and your vibe raises.
Of course it
You're
does.
glowing. Your body takes...
And people can see it.
Yeah, people can see it. Your body takes shape.
Yeah.
And you do get leaner and you do get stronger, and you are able to wear clothes that you didn't think you could wear. But like it's the energy that's beaming from you is what actually is so attractive to everyone around you, and they're like, I want a piece of that.
That's exactly what it is.
How did you do it?
Yeah.
I want to do that too.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've spoken before on different things about your inner critic.
Yep.
When it comes to food habits, how do we make it simple and sustainable?
It's like, I kind of like what I was saying there. So it's starting where you are.
Yeah.
So if I have a client that's coming and they're starting feels like they're starting from scratch. What with food habits, what you're doing really is, okay, 3 meals a day, at least 3 meals a day. So if you're someone that doesn't eat until 1 o'clock, that's got to change.
Yeah.
Breakfast has to be put in place. Now, it doesn't have to be the moment you get up. Some people can't eat that early.
Of course,
There's no strict rules. But healthy eating habits, the most important thing underneath all of that is blood sugar stabilization. So, you know, and the reason why blood sugar stabilization is so important is to keep your cortisol levels under control. So I'm kind of talking female specific here, but it's still important for men, but it's more important for women. So when we get up in the morning, our cortisol is raised. It's what gets us up out of bed, cortisol being our stress hormone. So eating within like an hour or two of getting up is really important to bring that cortisol level down. And to keep our cortisol levels down, we need to manage our blood sugar levels. And that means regular eating. So never going more than 4 hours without something to eat. And each meal or snack should be a mini meal. It should have all 3 macronutrients in it. So you should have a bit of protein, bit of carbs, bit of fats. So with a beginner, I will say, okay, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and either sometimes people need an afternoon snack, sometimes people prefer an evening one. It doesn't, whatever way it works. So usually kind of 3 main meals and a mini meal somewhere there, usually to spread it out, 4 meals a day. And it's, right, okay, that for the first week, eat what way it works, what makes sense for you. Have your bowl of porridge or your toast or your whatever, you know, and then we'll see kind of how you eat naturally. And if you're currently having, 2 slices of toast for breakfast, I'd be like, all right, next week can you add a boiled egg to that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Get a bit of protein and fats in there.
Yeah.
And I might say then as well, okay, well, a piece of fruit on the side of that too.
Yeah.
And then you've got more of a balanced meal. And when women want to lose weight, they restrict and they eat little amounts.
Yeah.
But it's actually working against them.
Of course it is.
Because your blood sugar levels are crashing. And when your blood sugar levels crash, what do you think your body needs?
Yeah.
Sugar.
Exactly.
So that's where the cravings are coming from. Or you eat so little all day and then you can't control your
Plus
eating
your
at
body
night.
thinks you're going into starvation mode.
Yeah.
So it retains all the fat in your body then.
Yeah, well, because that's it, because your cortisol levels
Yeah.
soar through the roof. And when you're in that heightened stress state, your body won't release body fat because it's going into protective mode.
Yeah.
So it really can be a huge, but the main thing really here is that if you are restricting all day and you're like, oh sure, I've eaten feck all day or whatever, and I can't control what I'm eating at night, and I hear this a lot, is like, you know, they'll have their dinner and then they can't stop eating after dinner. It's because your body's playing catch up.
Of course.
It's your body is trying to regulate itself because it's been in such a stressed state
so
all day.
It out better throughout the day.
You have to eat more, and this saving calories in case you need it in the evening, you won't need it in the evening. Say if you're tracking calories, now not everyone has to or does, but if you are tracking your calories to lose weight, saving 200 or 300 calories for the evening time to have your cup of tea and your chocolate bar or your Coke Zero and your popcorn or whatever it is you want to have, that's okay. It's planned for, you know, and track your calories ahead of time so you have that planned.
Yeah.
And then use the rest of your calories on your food. Like if you have a really good breakfast, a really good lunch, a really good dinner, you're eating like a queen. Mm-hmm. You won't need it. And that's the most freeing thing when you realise that. Sure, even when I came here and we went for a coffee before this, I was like, oh, they do lunch here, great. And you were like, oh, are you hungry? I'm like, no, I'm just planning my next meal. Because I can't let myself get that hungry. Because, well, I don't like being hungry, first of all. But I think that's another thing.
It's so refreshing, though, to hear you say we need to be getting away from this restricting ourselves from food and stopping eating what we love to eat. It's just balance. Yeah. It's just getting that right balance.
Yeah, and it's just, it's adding in. And as you add more in, you actually crowd out a lot of the stuff you don't need.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're like, oh shit, there's no protein in this, right, I suppose better add an egg to this, or a scoop of protein powder, or a chicken fillet, or whatever it is that you're having. And you're like, oh God, but I have to spend calories on that extra bit of chicken. Calories well spent, and not a whole lot of calories as well. You know what I mean? And adding, like, my thing is, adding a salad to the side of lunch and dinner. Just like, it doesn't matter what it is I'm having, just a big salad. Yeah. And then that's like you're getting your micronutrients in, and it's volume eating, it's bringing it up. So, and not cutting out carbohydrates, because it'll come back to bite you in the ass with cravings. Because if you're cutting out the carbohydrates, that's when the sugar cravings are going to come later.
Yeah. So can we talk a little bit about the scales? Okay.
Yes.
The dreaded scales. So I know for myself, I haven't stepped on a scales in years because I'm not bothered stepping on a scales. Yeah. For me personally, I don't want to let one number affect my mood, affect the rest of my day, affect my week. So how do we stop letting that one number affect our lives and take over our lives? Because it can be, for some women, it can be quite obsessive, is just focusing on that number. Yeah. This is also my life's work. I spent most of my days trying to convince women of this. And what I will say is, did I walk in here and did you look at me and think, Jesus, I bet Kate is about 10 stone, 11 stone? Yeah, exactly. No,
like,
of course
I'd walk in and look at Roisin and be like, yeah, I don't know, she might be about whatever amount of pounds or stone. Yeah. Why are we so fixated on it? My thing with now, and I work with, like, keeping in mind just for context. Yeah. My work in Nourish is usually helping women lose body fat to get to a healthy weight. Yes. So I don't work with women to lose more and more weight to be the skinniest version of themselves. That's not what we do. So I work with a lot of women who have kind of stopped looking after themselves, and they do have a bit of weight to lose to get to feel healthy again.
Yeah.
We focus obviously on the habits and the nutrition and adding in, but when it comes to the scales, for a lot of them, they like to use it as an indicator of moving in the right direction, particularly in the early days.
Once it's not affecting them,
yeah.
though.
But so my rule with this, so in an ideal world, I would love everyone to be like you, Roisin, and just be like, doesn't matter what I weigh.
Yeah.
It's about my health, it's about my
Yeah.
strength, it's about my energy, it's about my clothes, it's about, and
Yeah.
that's how I think. So my rule, though, that's a deal breaker for a lot of people, particularly in the early days of a health and fitness journey. So my rule is you weigh yourself every day or not at all.
Yeah.
The worst
Yeah.
thing you
Yeah.
can do as a woman is do a weekly weigh-in, because you do a weekly weigh-in and you're at a different stage of your cycle
Of course.
every week.
Absolutely.
And if you're in perimenopause, God only knows where you are in
Yeah,
your
you're up
cycle.
and down like a
You're up
yo-yo.
and down like a yo-yo. So
Yeah.
there's no point. So the weekly weigh-in is the most soul-destroying thing you can do. I don't even like a monthly weigh-in, because then I think you put too much emotional weight and anticipation on it and it becomes a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
Weigh yourself every morning as just part of your routine. Notice the ups and downs. It's not going to go down, 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 down. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Of course.
And what I've done, I've done this experiment on myself as well, so that I can guide people depending on what they choose to do. I don't give a shit what I weigh.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's about
Yeah.
how I feel. I know when I'm kind of getting a bit out of shape, and I'm like, right, okay, rein it back in a bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like my year kind of goes by that. But I'm on holidays and I'm eating out a
course.
lot, and then I'm like, right, okay, time for a bit of structure and routine.
Yeah, yeah.
And I tighten things up a bit.
Yeah.
But
I can understand it, though, from a client's point of view, if they're on a journey.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the journey, but once...
It's one part
That's-
of the journey, though.
Exactly.
And so the reason why, so I will do a daily weigh-in, and not all the time. Sometimes I'll just go a while without weighing myself, but then I'll do a daily weigh-in just to remind people, so that when I'm teaching it, I'm kind of close to it. But what I've noticed from a daily weigh-in is, if you've had a salty meal the night before, scales will be up.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
when I'm ovulating mid-cycle, like at the minute, like my cycle is quite regular, so I thank God it'll all change now in the next few years. But when I'm ovulating, I'm up a few pounds. I look about 5 months pregnant, but I'm ovulating. I actually get bloated in my lower stomach coming up to my period. So there's actually probably only about 1 week in the month where I feel relatively lean and I'm not holding on to water, because with the scales, whether you're losing body fat, whether you're maintaining, whether you're looking to build muscle, the scales, your body's going to hold on to water as a female a lot.
Yes.
Usually hormonally, and like I said, if you're going through perimenopause, you're all over the shop. You don't know what's going on hormone wise in your body. So you're holding on to water for all different reasons, and that's a lot of what the scales is showing. So you could have, if someone is weighing weekly, you could have a week where you have lost. You've lost a pound of body fat, right?
Yeah.
But you're holding on to 2 pounds of water, and the scales tells you you're up a pound.
Yeah.
And you give up because you've done everything right, everything's perfect. You have lost body fat,
Yeah.
but you're holding on to 2 pounds of water because you're due your period, or because
exactly.
your estrogen is high or low or whatever. There's lots
And
of
that's the
different
good
reasons.
thing about weighing yourself every day, because you start to see the little
You see
trends.
the patterns,
Yeah.
and then you can zoom out, and you can, instead of looking at it over a week, you suddenly start looking at it over a month or 3 months, and it's going up and down. Your weight is going up and down, but as you zoom out, it's going up and down in a downward direction.
Exactly.
And but that's not for everyone. And I think that if you can focus on other things that for your weight loss progress, your fat loss progress is much more important. Like we do a jeans challenge at the start of every month. Pair of jeans that won't really go up. Most women have it. Pair of jeans that won't really go up or won't close properly or just feel uncomfortable, or even just jeans that fit. It doesn't matter. Like the one pair of jeans, not stretchy ones now, nice unforgiving ones.
Yeah.
And try them on the start of every month. And that'll tell you if you're making progress, because the jeans don't lie.
Yeah.
They don't,
That's a good
and
one.
it's
I
great.
like that one.
And the joy in our WhatsApp group, then the start of the month, and women are like, Jesus, look at my jeans,
That's amazing.
But I've had a woman go, and I talk about her all the time. She went from a size 16 down to a size 12, and it was only 4 pounds on the scales.
Wow. There you go.
That's how much
Yeah.
the scales is misleading you. So please do, and if there's weight to be lost, if you've got stones and stones of weight to lose, your weight will follow suit.
Yes.
But it can't be the main character.
No.
You have to. Another measure of progress that I love is a resting heart rate.
Yes.
And so put that in our daily habit form on the app, because it's amazing when you start getting a little bit fitter, losing a little bit of weight, eating better,
Yeah.
drinking less alcohol. Suddenly, like, instead of your resting heart rate being like 70 beats per minute or 80 beats per minute, suddenly it's down.
Yeah.
It's down to 60.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and that's a real
how
sign.
60? Yeah,
and that's a scientific
that's a
fact.
sign
Like,
of
you can't
health.
deny that.
Health,
Yeah.
yeah. And energy levels and confidence and your clothes and, you know, going out and buying something for a wedding. We had another woman who worked with us for the guts of a year, and she signed up because her son was getting married and she wanted to feel good at her son's wedding. She didn't go to social occasions because she hated getting dressed up and just gave her awful anxiety, so she didn't. She hadn't worn a dress in years, and she was like, I want to go to my son's wedding. I want to wear a dress at my son's wedding and feel amazing. And she did it.
Yes.
And she sent a photo in the group. And when I tell you, I cried. And actually, Lindsay was the one who was doing the check-ins with this client, Lindsay, my head coach. And like, as emotional I was, Lindsay was even more so. Because that's what it's all about. It's like, if you suddenly can go out to an occasion and feel amazing, get a dress that you haven't been able to you feel like you have the confidence to wear a dress.
And 6 months or 4 months earlier, that would have been a no way.
Yeah,
They
no
wouldn't
way.
have believed it if you'd have told them.
Yeah, or like, you know, the women that come to your gym, Roisin, that haven't stepped in a gym and suddenly they're so incredibly proud that they've come, they've started.
Yeah.
Like, these are the things that matter. So imagine if that client had said, oh, but I only lost 10 pounds or whatever it was. Or I only, you know, I should have been a size 12 instead of a size 14. Or I should have weighed 11 stone instead of 12 stone. Like, a number.
Yeah.
Like what? Like that would just absolutely ruin the pure joy of it. Same as a woman who walks in here and...
Well, I tell you, I had a woman come to me the other day, right? And her name is Lucy. So Lucy, if you're listening, hey girl.
Hi, Lucy.
Lucy. So Lucy came to me about 4 months ago, but I'm not exactly sure. And she'll tell you herself, she has a whole heap of things going on with her. She has fibromyalgia, she's lupus, she's all the blah, 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 bits and bits and bits. And she told me that recently, before she started coming to me, she could barely lift her arm to brush her teeth because she was so weak, right?
Yeah.
That girl, right, she came to me the other day and she said, would you believe I went to a wedding? I'm sure was it a wedding? Or she was on her holidays, I think. And she wore a jacket that she hasn't been able to wear in so many years. And the satisfaction she got from just doing that button was unreal.
Love it.
And she said, it's all down to your classes. She says, it's all down. And then she told me last night that she was recently with her GP, her local GP, and he took all my details to pass on to all his patients.
Yes.
Because she said the difference... Now, she's saying to me, Roisin, the difference you have made in my life. No, it's the difference she has made in her life. I'm here to facilitate the class. Yeah. I'm here to welcome people in. I'm here to make people feel as comfortable as possible, to make them feel like their best self. But they're doing the work.
Yeah.
Now, how incredible is that?
That's absolutely incredible. And that comes back to the point of, you know, you start with the body, like doing a bit of exercise, and suddenly it's like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's
it's
what
that
it started.
Confidence. It's like, it's like...
And you know what the gas thing is? She started doing the chair Pilates and she loved it so much. Now forget the chair. Now, not that there's anything wrong with the chair, but she's now on the trampolines and she's doing the spin and she's lifting the weights and 20 and the HIIT classes and you name it. Lucy is in there giving out stink to me for giving her more weights, but we still crack on.
Yeah.
And she's in there killing it. Like, that's
amazing.
Just phenomenal.
But that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That is what it's all about. And like, as women, we have to let go of the scales. We have to, and to keep in mind as well, and I know that, like, I've had certain situations where women have had specific weight goals they had to reach. I had one girl who had a love of horse riding, and she hadn't been able to get on her horse for a long time. So she had to get to a certain weight to be able to get back on the horse, literally. So that obviously was important.
Yes.
I've had other women who need to get to a certain weight category before they were allowed to do IVF.
Okay.
You know, so there's certain situations where weight, but interestingly enough, I would argue that the doctors need to catch up, but we won't get into, you know, they should be looking at more than just weight.
Yes.
You know, they should be looking at all health markers, you know, and look at their bloods. And maybe they are, and weight is just one part of it. But so in some very rare cases, weight is going to matter. But for most, it's all the other stuff. It's the muscle
tiny.
mass, and also to keep in mind, if you're a woman who lifts heavy weights, you're going to weigh heavier than what you look. Like, I weigh a lot heavier than what I look, because I've got a lot of muscle. But then when I want to lose a few pounds, I can lose a few pounds on like 2,200 calories. It's amazing.
Yeah,
because I have plenty of muscle there.
I remember during COVID, I got mad into running. I don't run at all anymore because I'm too busy.
You're too busy teaching classes.
But I never forget this morning. I wanted to get to, I think it was 60 or 58 kg. I can't remember what it was. I know it was either 58 or 60, and I was mad into running. And I remember one Sunday morning I was doing my weigh-in, and I didn't have breakfast, and I went for this really long run or whatever, just so I could see that number. And I'm looking back and going, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? Now, I'd say I'm in my 60s kg, and I don't know, because I don't weigh myself, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care, because you know why? I feel really strong.
Yeah.
I feel really confident.
Absolutely.
Not all the time, because ups, downs, roundabouts, hormones, that's just part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
But generally, I feel really strong.
Yeah. No, and that's it. Like, and health is not a static thing. Like I said, it's a journey, and we're always getting older, and there's always going to be things that are going to be thrown in, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, just as I'm feeling good, this happens or whatever. But it's navigating it, knowing that you're living a healthy lifestyle, that you're living with balance, and to keep in mind the most harmful thing to your health is stress.
Yes.
And stress shows up in all sorts of ways: in a bad diet, in a restrictive diet, in too much exercise, in too much fixation on goals and scales. And like, it's about releasing, it's about letting go, it's about making the small changes, doing the things that you need to do, and then trusting the process and fucking enjoying it.
Exactly.
Enjoy it, like. You're never going to be this young again, like. You know what I mean? So,
but what the gas thing is, you look back at yourself. Like, I've often looked back in pictures and I'm going, oh, I remember that picture being taken, and I thought, oh my God, that's given out by myself. And I'm looking back now going, jeez, what were you thinking? You look incredible. You look really good. Like, I did a photo shoot there, I don't know, I think it was in January, and I was showing my daughter some of the pictures, and I said, and I'll be honest, and I say, oh, we'll scroll past these ones, because there was a little bit of back fat coming off my bra, right? And she scrolled back and she goes, ma'am, you look incredible. This is what real women look like.
Exactly. We're supposed to have roles.
We're supposed to have. And you know what the gas thing is? What I say to them when I'm doing the Pilates, when you're doing like a half roll back, having belly rolls shows that you're doing the exercise right. Would you believe that? So I'd be like, show your belly rolls. But it's really, and another thing I want to stress, and a little bit about what we talked about, if you're doing a class, and you're smashing it, like one week you're like, my God, I'm lifting real heavy, I'm full of energy, and the next week you're like, what's wrong with me? I'm fucked, like, I just can't lift. That's okay. That's your body going through the motions.
Yeah, but your body doesn't know what weight you're lifting. Your body doesn't know how many reps you've done. What's important is your perceived level of exertion, and that's what's important, because as long as, like, so some weeks doing more is going to feel great, and other weeks doing less, it's like, oh Jesus Christ, I'm really feeling it. But listen to your body and be like, okay, you've pushed it enough. Your body doesn't know whether that's 10 kilos or 12 kilos. You know what I mean? So I think that's really important too.
And you showed up. And showing up, that's it. That's half the battle.
And I think that's what stops people being consistent. Sometimes they're like, oh Jesus, the thoughts now, I have to go hell for leather. Just show up. I like the amount of times in the early days when I'd be like, Dave would come in from work, and then I'd have been teaching all day, I'd have made dinner, and I'd be rushing out the door to a 7 p.m. class, and I'd be fucking wrecked. And but what used to get me out the door, I'd be like, just go for the warm up. Go for the warm up, and if you don't feel good after the warm up, you can leave.
Or what was it you said at the recent talk we did? Go out and walk for 5 minutes.
5 minute action. That's exactly it. So and never once did I ever leave after the warm up. I never did, because I always felt amazing, because I felt, I'll go and I'll just move and I'll take it handy. And sometimes I did take it handy, but I never really was arsing about, because once I got moving.
And you never walked out the door?
Yeah, because motivation comes after action. And this is the trap people fall for. They wait for motivation. But you need to take that 5 minute action. Just commit to 5 minutes, and you've guilt-free permission to stop after that. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to.
You never do,
Because once you get moving, you feel good.
Yeah. So I just want to touch a little bit about weight training for older women, okay? So what would you say to any women out there who are afraid of lifting weights? Do you know what I mean? Like the whole idea of, I'd never, like women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to a gym. Are you mad? No, I wouldn't be lifting weights. And because we know, we hear it all the time, the importance of weight training. And I'm not talking about weight training for bodybuilders, unless that's your goal or whatever. I'm just talking about weight training for when we get older and we want to be able to lift our grandkids. We want to be able to reach that tin of beans to the top of the press. We want to be able to, if we have a fall, to be able to get ourselves up easily enough and carry shopping in from the car to the house without help. Do you know that sort of way?
Yeah. So I believe that there is no one size fits all. And this is why my coaching is not prescriptive. We don't do meal plans. We don't do, that you have to do this. It's building on the person's lifestyle. But one thing I will say that every woman needs, and man, but we're really talking to the ladies here in relation to this, every woman needs to do is lift weights. I don't care how you do it, but it's the one thing, if you're not currently lifting weights, like this should be prescriptive. It's the one thing that I'm like, why are you not, like, what's the excuse for not lifting weights? No, I don't accept it. You need to lift weights. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner. There's so many different ways to do it. There's so many small group personal training classes, like your commercial gym classes. There's, gyms like yourself, and there's Pilates, there's dumbbells, there's barbells, there's kettlebells, there's
so many options.
Body weight, there's home
bands.
workouts, there's resistance bands, there's online coaches like myself that will teach you those kind of movements. There's in-person personal trainers. There's aqua aerobics. There's endless ways to do resistance training. So I suppose when we say lift weights, it's resistance training. What we need to do is be using our muscles. And everyone needs a good structured plan that involves a squat pattern, a hinge pattern, a push, a pull, a single leg, and core. It's needed. Now, not all in the one workout, but spread out throughout the week consistently. And it need only be 2-3 times a week. I always say 2 to 4 times a week. As we get older, it's non-negotiable. It really needs to be done.
And there's so many resources online. Like you've so many options. Whether you want to go in person or whether you want to just do a little bit of research online, get a program online. And there's
no excuse for not starting. There's just no excuse now. And because even if you're like, oh well, Kate, I'm injured or whatever, what do you know? You don't know what I'm dealing with or whatever. I don't know any physio that's not going to recommend strength training. Now, it might be a physio, like if you have a condition or an injury, it'll be a physio-led program. You're not going to go to your local gym class and start jumping around but what the physio will give you will be resistance training.
Of course.
Because your physio is going to want you to strengthen your muscles to help you recover from the injury or the condition. I'm sure there are some very, very rare cases where it isn't recommended, and that will be a medical thing. And I'll always say, always take your doctor's advice before anyone else's, in relation to that kind of stuff.
Of course.
But also, it's also no harm to get a second opinion sometimes as well. You know what I mean? But in general, we need to, because what's happening from over the age of 30, we're losing muscle mass. But a significant percentage of our muscle mass every decade after the age of 30. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I think it's 3 to 8% or something like that. So it's quite a significant amount. Now I'm talking female specific here. Men don't lose it as quickly, and and that accelerates as we get older because of our drop in estrogen. So not only that, but then our bone density is being affected. But I think there's this misconception where it's as women get older and they're losing their muscle mass, that we're painted this picture of us being frail little old ladies. But that's not actually what's happening when you think about it. So you're losing the muscle mass. So just say you've hit about 50 now, and you're so it's 20 years of losing your muscle mass. You're not just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You're losing the muscle mass. What is it being replaced by? Body fat.
Exactly.
And that's what middle-age spread is. So if we take it from a fat loss perspective, all the other health benefits aside, by lifting weights consistently every week in whatever modality you want to do that, resistance training, you are maintaining the muscle mass you have. If you're lifting particularly heavy, you can gain some muscle mass as well. Depends on your goals, obviously. But just even maintaining what you have is going to stop that middle-age spread. It's going to keep your metabolism high, because the more muscle you have in your frame, the more calories your body burns at rest. So this is what happens, when we get older and we're eating the same way we have always eaten, but suddenly we're gaining weight because our metabolism has dropped, because our muscle mass is dropping. And that's why women gain weight after a certain age. If you're lifting weights, and you're keeping your protein high, you can counteract that, you can prevent that. And like, that's exactly what you're doing, like, you know, probably without even giving it much thought, like, you know what I mean? Because you're so active in your classes here. But I think women are so focused on the scales and on cardio and on fat loss. And cardio has a place, it's important for our heart health.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But how we do cardio, again, is very much depends on the person, you know. Like, I'm very much a walk and lift weights kind of gal, you know. I think it's the most accessible for everyone. If you're into football, play football. If you're into run, if you're into spin, but you know,
it's a good walk.
Yeah, but walk is accessible for everyone. You can replace your walk with a spin class if you want, no problem, you know. But you don't. My point is, you don't have to be doing really high intensity exercise to be getting the effect that you need. And if anything, as we get older, keeping it simple is actually more effective. Our body responds better to lifting heavy weights and a daily walk rather than just absolutely baiting the shit out of ourselves in high intensity classes. But that piece, in like keeping in mind, like I said there a minute ago, if I take myself, I'm 5'6", I'm 40, and I'm currently weigh about 11 stone, right? I'm always kind of between 10 and 11, on the higher end of it now. It's been a busy summer already. But you know, I always kind of stay in that bracket. And when I want to lose body fat and I want to track my calories and lose a few pounds, I'll start my diet on 2,200 calories.
Yeah.
There are some women who have to start a diet on about 1,500 calories. Yeah. You know, and a lot of that, obviously height is going to make a difference, weight, age, all of that stuff, but muscle mass, huge. Yeah. So people are like, how can you lose weight? Like, you're only 5'6", how do you lose weight in so many high calories? Because I've been strength training for years and not dieting, basically.
Yeah,
I haven't been restricting myself. I've been eating well with a balance. And I've been lifting weights for a significant amount of time, which means now, as I head into this crucial decade of between 40 and 50, where there's going to be a lot of change in my body, I'm ready for it. Yeah. And that doesn't mean I've under any illusions it's going to be easy. And I don't think fitness levels necessarily plays a part in how your menopause symptoms are going to be. But when it comes to metabolism and muscle mass, I'm ready. And I think it's never too late. I think my oldest client might be 76. She's lifting weights. I'm sure we can talk about the people coming into your class as well. It's never too late to build a bit of muscle, to maintain a bit of strength. You have to do it. Yeah. And there's for so many reasons. And not only then, if we talk about fat loss and you know, and beating that bit middle-age spread, not even just for that, and for calories that you can eat, but like your muscle health, your joint health, you know, to help make symptoms of arthritis easier, to, you know, to your bone density. And keeping in mind, as our estrogen starts to lower, our bone density is affected. Yeah. And, you know, obviously we could talk to our doctors about HRT to help with that, but can't be resistance training for that. And then your cognitive health. Your cognitive health. So all the studies that are being done, the correlation between strength training in women and the prevention of diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you know, all you know, things like motor neuron disease, you know, all of these things that seem to be becoming more prevalent, and any type of dementia. There's more and more studies coming out that how much resistance training is helping to prevent that.
That's right, yeah.
And a lot of it can be tied with the reduction in muscle mass and bone density. Obviously, those studies are still, you know, ongoing, but it's a no-brainer.
And the great thing is on resistance training, let's say, like for my dad, he's in a wheelchair, or for older people who maybe have limitations, the likes of resistance bands, they're cheap, they're easy to store, you can pack them in your handbag, you can bring them on holidays, you can do them at home, at the desk, at your kitchen table, you know, and they're so versatile. You can do so much with them.
So much. And like getting to a class like in a gym like yours is just incredible, that, you know, a gym that it's going to, everything is scalable up and down. Yes. There's like there's like as you said, your dad comes to the gym in his wheelchair and does the chair Pilates class, isn't that right? Yeah, it is. That there's something for everyone. And, you know, if you do have specific medical needs and you do have specific injuries or limitations, you can always, like when I work with people online, if someone is working with a physio, let me see what the physio recommends. Tell the physio you're working with me. Exactly. And let's put a program together. There's something, you can be doing something to work on your strength in relation to where you're at currently.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah. 100%. Well, that's been amazing. I've had such a great time with you.
Yes,
Yeah,
such
it's
a
been
great
so
time.
nice.
I could keep going, but we'll stop.
So I just want to, finally, just before we finish up, what's next for Kate?
Oh, Jesus, I don't know.
Her mind's going a mile a minute. She's a million things on the go.
Yeah, no, I'm going a mile a minute. No, for me, I think the future very much looks like continuing to help women believe in themselves.
Yeah.
I believe that the starting point to that is connecting with your body.
Yeah.
It's slowing down enough to look after yourself again with your nutrition, with your stress, with your exercise. I think that's always the place to go. But I think whether it's with my Nourish Her health and fitness coaching, or whether it's with my Lead Her business mentorship, I just want to help women slow down, reconnect with themselves, stop chasing unrealistic expectations and unnecessary stresses, and just build a life that gives them freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom from whatever it is that's holding them back.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, is I have my 2 businesses, Nourish Her, Lead Her,
I was
both
just
online.
about to say, if anybody resonates with what we've said today and they want to reach out to you, so tell them how to do that.
Yeah, so the best place to reach out to me is on Instagram or Facebook. I'm Kate Hamilton Health on both. So sure, I can give you a link. You can pop a link to my Instagram, and then you can send me a DM. I answer anyone's messages on Instagram or Facebook, so just reach out to me if you have any questions. And there's an application form in the link in my bio as well if you'd like to work with me, or I have one-to-one slots to work with one-to-one with me in relation to your health and fitness or in relation to your business. And then I also have a group option for both the health and fitness, so we can health and fitness or business.
Brilliant.
So yeah,
amazing. So at the end of every one of these podcasts, I like to do a shout out to
go for it.
somebody. So I was sitting here going, we were having a chat there. I was like, who can I shout out? And I know I don't really know this person yet, but I talked to you about this earlier on. A lady reached out to me today. I'm just going to use her first name because I only use first names. Her name is Jane. So this week's shout out is to Jane, and I'll tell you why. Because she, and I quote, I've been hovering over that send button for I don't know how long. She reached out to me today. She wanted to start a class, but she was very nervous, and I get this all the time. And I had a little chat with her, and she's booked her first class for tomorrow. Yes. So Jane, this one is for you. This is a little
Jane,
shout out for you.
You can do this.
This is the beginning for the rest of your life now. This is a new you. And so this shout out is to Jane.
Yes, Jane.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.